Dr. Alara Voss had learned early in her career that observation required patience. As Earth's only xenobiologist embedded within the Crithian Imperial Education Center, she understood her role: watch, document, and never interfere. The Galactic Council had been explicit about that last part. She sat in the back row of the training dome, her datapad balanced on her knee, stylus hovering over the screen as she recorded notes. The facility's curved walls shimmered with bioluminescent patterns, casting everything in an ethereal blue glow. Before her, 24 Crithian cubs, each no larger than a human child, sat in neat rows, their scaled bodies rigid with attention. Instructor Vormak paced before them, his massive frame making the cubs look even smaller by comparison. Adult Crithians stood nearly 8 feet tall, their reptilian features and powerful builds marking them as apex predators on their homeworld. Vormak's crest flared red as he barked commands in the guttural Crithian tongue. "Weakness," he snarled, his clawed hand striking a holographic display, "is a luxury your enemies will never afford you." Ilara's stylus scratched quietly across her datapad. Day 47, instructor continues emphasis on survival doctrine. Cubs showing signs of stress, elevated heart rates detected on bioscanners. Her eyes drifted to the smallest cub in the front row. Trin, she'd named him that in her notes after overhearing his designation, sat perfectly still, but Ilara could see the slight tremor in his small claws. The cub couldn't have been more than 3 standard years old, barely past infancy by Crithian standards. "You," Vormak's voice cracked like a whip. He pointed at Trin. "Stand." The small cub rose on shaking legs. "Demonstrate defensive stance theta." Trin shifted his weight, trying to mirror the combat posture they'd been taught. His small frame wobbled, one foot sliding slightly out of position. Vormak's eyes narrowed. Pathetic. Ilara's grip tightened on her stylus. She'd seen this before, the harsh training methods, the deliberate intimidation. The Crithians believed pressure forged strength, but her human instinct screamed at the cruelty of it. "Do not interfere," she reminded herself. "You're an observer, again," Vormak commanded. Trin tried once more, his small body straining to hold the position. This time he managed it, but Vormak circled him like a predator. "Weak," the instructor hissed. "In the wild you would be prey, perhaps." His crest flared a deeper crimson. "Perhaps you need to understand what prey feels like." Everything happened in seconds. Vormak's hand shot out, grabbing Trin by the scruff of his neck and lifting him off the ground. The cub let out a frightened chirp. The instructor's other hand extended its claws, bringing them close to Trin's exposed throat, a teaching technique meant to simulate mortal danger. But something in Vormak's eyes was different, darker. His claws pressed closer than training. Protocols allowed. Ilara was on her feet before her conscious mind caught up. Her chair clattered backward. "Stop!" The word burst from her lips in accented Crithian. Every head in the room swiveled toward her. Vormak froze, his expression shifting from aggression to contempt. "The human speaks," he sneered, still holding Trin suspended. "You forget your place, observer. You're hurting him." Ilara's voice was steady despite her racing heart. She stepped forward, moving down the aisle between the cubs. "That's not training. That's abuse." Vormak's laugh was harsh and metallic. "You understand nothing of our ways. Humans coddle their young and look at you, soft, weak, barely worthy of council recognition." He shook Trin slightly. "This cub needs to learn fear. Real fear. Put him down, or what?" Vormak's claws pressed closer to Trin's throat. "Will you save him, little human? Will you?" The first cub struck from behind. A youngling from the third row launched itself at Vormak's leg, tiny teeth sinking into the instructor's calf. Vormak bellowed in surprise, his grip on Trin loosening. 2 more cubs leaped forward, then 4, then a cascade of small-scaled bodies. They swarmed. Ilara watched in stunned amazement as 24 Crithian cubs attacked their instructor with coordinated fury. They weren't random in their assault. They targeted joints, vulnerable points, working together with an instinctual precision that defied their young age. Vormak staggered, dropping Trin, who scrambled away. "Stop! Stand down!" Vormak roared, trying to shake off the cubs clinging to his arms and back. But they didn't stop. They'd seen him threaten one of their own. They'd seen the human female, the gentle observer who'd never raised her voice, stand up in Trin's defense. And something primal had awakened. Trin, recovering from his fall, looked up at Alara. Their eyes met, human and alien, and understanding passed between them. The small cub's crest flushed a brilliant gold, and he released a high-pitched call that Alara had never heard before. The other cubs responded immediately, breaking off their attack but forming a protective semicircle around both Tyrion and Alara. Their small bodies were rigid, defensive, facing Vormak with bared teeth. The instructor stumbled backward, bleeding from a dozen minor wounds, his expression shifting from rage to something closer to disbelief. "They've never," he gasped. "Cubs don't coordinate? They don't defend. Not at this age." Alara knelt beside Tyrion, her hand hovering near him but not touching, respecting his space. The small cub pressed against her leg anyway, seeking comfort. "Maybe," Alara said quietly, her voice carrying in the shocked silence. They just needed someone to show them it was okay to protect each other. That strength isn't just about enduring harm, it's about preventing it. The training dome's doors burst open. Security personnel flooded in, summoned by automatic alerts, but they stopped short at the scene before them. An injured instructor, a pack of cubs in defensive formation, and a human xenobiologist kneeling calmly at the center of it all. As Alara was escorted from the facility for her breach of protocol, Tyrion watched her go. The small cub's crest remained gold, a color Alara would later learn signified loyalty and pack bonding. She'd broken the cardinal rule of observation. She'd interfered. But as she glanced back one final time and saw 24 young cubs standing together, their fear replaced with solidarity, Alara couldn't bring herself to regret it. Sometimes, she thought, the most human thing you could do was refuse to stay quiet in the back row.